Jide Olatunbode, young IT professional, currently playing a lead role at Procter & Gamble, is our guest today. Hello, Jide.
How are you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great to have you. We'll start by asking you to just share with us the highlights of your short but intense IT career.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Well, I had a couple of highlights that I would love to share. I'll share just a few. I would start from where it started from. Right, I started with an organization that was into IT consulting as an intern.
Okay.
Right, and I remember very, very clearly we had an irate customer. And everybody in the organization feared this customer because one, they probably didn't understand the solution very well, perhaps, and secondly, the guy was just the way he was, and someone needed to go and implement and do what we do, and it all fell to me, the intern, and I was probably the first intern this organization put on a plane to this client's place, and I did what I was going to do successfully. And it was amazing because I came back and I got a standing ovation. Everybody was amazed, right, that an intern could do this. So that was the beginning, and that was a very, very good push.
So why do you think you were able to do what other people failed to do?
I knew the solution, right? So I read very well.
Okay. So you were prepared.
I was very prepared.
Okay.
I was very prepared. I did a lot of tests. I was very, very into what I wanted to do. So I knew it wasn't rocket science. Right?
Okay.
So I could do it, regardless of who the person was and everything.
So that set the stage for your career.
Yes, it
essentially.
did. Yes, it did.
What next?
Yes, it did. Later on, I found myself leading another interesting one that I want to point out. I'm in an organization where, once upon a time, the people didn't have any idea a very clear idea of what goes on the field.
Right.
Right. So I led a project that automated that space and opened it up and created real-time technologies that enabled, at the click of a button in your seat, in your office, you know exactly what's going on.
In the sales field.
In the sales field, exactly.
Okay,
And it was really, as you can imagine, decision making was very, very fast. Like people could quickly see where the issues were, or what was doing good or what was not doing good, etc., etc. It was pretty good. And that also won me an award, right? That was an interesting one. I got an award that was presented in Turkey.
Oh,
right.
amazing.
So that project was pretty fantastic.
Okay, one award. I understand there are two.
Yeah, there are two.
Yes.
Yeah. So now there is IT is tricky, right? Because people usually, especially IT professionals, see IT for IT's sake, right? So you're a database professional, you are a software developer, etc., etc. But I was trained to see IT differently, right? As a tool for helping business, right?
Okay.
So I launched a project that quickly, in a very short amount of time, transformed the business.
Tell us how. Transform the business. That's
Okay.
a heavy word.
Yeah, it is. So it was a BI tool, business intelligence, right? Yeah, that's pretty simple. And that means that the data comes in anyhow, right? But how useful is data?
Yes.
So we presented information to the business.
Okay. So you took data and gave them information to make decisions.
Yeah. So they don't even need to think. Right. So they know exactly what they want, and they can just go and ask the system for it, and it gives it to them in a very short amount of time. So the question was not about the technology itself. The question was the value and the length of time it took to deliver that technology.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what.
Are there some key measures that you used to determine the impact of that particular initiative?
Yes, there is volume.
Yeah, volume of the business. Sales.
Yeah, so you track it. You say at the beginning of the project, this is how much volume we're generating.
So what kind of percentages are we talking about in the increment?
Well, we're talking about 12 to 18, there about more.
12 to 18% more.
Okay. Exactly.
What else? What about
throughput? There is decision time.
Right.
There is, we call it throughput or whatever you want to say. It says it takes you 1 week to get this kind of information.
Yeah.
It's taking you 1 hour or less. Do you understand? So those are the other kind of internal measures that we use to determine. But to an outsider, these two are pretty key.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
You must have encountered some challenges in trying to do some of these things. Can you share some of them with us? Could it have all been rosy? Easy peasy?
No, it wasn't. I tell you. Nigeria is diverse, right? And this project cut across the four corners of Nigeria, not
Right.
south, east, west. I've had trainings where I had to train in Hausa. So I was speaking in
So
English.
you can speak all the Nigerian
Someone else
languages.
was translating Hausa. So
Okay.
someone else was doing the translation. Major key is language barrier,
Right.
and that key is adoption. Now, what I mean by adoption is whenever there's a new technology, people are really hard to use it. Right?
As a whole, change management.
Exactly. So change is not really quite that easy, right? It's really for technologically challenged people.
Yeah.
I say that very, very calmly because here in this part of the world, everybody is moving with the iPhones and the iPads and all. But if you go to the rural areas where business is actually done, and this is where you really want to see what's happening, right? It's not here in Lagos where everything flies and all. This is that the people you need to really train, that people that need to use the technologies that. So that was that was a key challenge, getting them to use the technology.
Interesting, but it would sound like you succeeded.
Yeah, so how did I succeed? How did I overcome it? That's the next question. A couple of things. One, it's good if the guys you are giving the technology to sees the value.
Okay.
Right? If it seems as if you're just forcing something down their throat because you think it's good. To every IT professional, he thinks his IT tools are the best in the world.
Yeah.
He wants to get the next best one and the next best one and the next best one. But to the farmer on the field, right, he is good with his hoe and cutlass because it feeds his family every morning. So you want to sell to him
The
that
benefits.
the benefits, yeah, that this is good. And then if you have success story, we have a lot of success stories. So we had a pilot, right? Pilot was very good. So you could easily say, your brother in Sokoto did this.
So why not you?
Exactly.
It will work for you as well.
Exactly. And then give them a whole lot of training to make sure that you close mark them, make sure that they use it and they use it well. And it wasn't smooth, right? So you see the curve, you see it goes up a little bit and just drops down, and then after a while steadies, and then people kept using, and then benefits started coming. And when the benefits start to come, you can go to sleep, right? Because then
it
when
sells
it sees
itself, basically.
Exactly, it sells itself.
So what drives you as a professional?
What drives me? I want to be the best, right? I have
The best in your profession, in your company, in your nation. What kind of dimensions are we talking about?
In whatever I do,
Okay.
right? So I have, in my organization, for instance, I want to be the best in my team,
Okay.
right? In my country, in next 10 years, I want them to think, I want the president to think as Asorok one day and says, I want to solve this problem. And then the Minister of Information or Technology comes and says, okay, let's use technology. Says, who do we call? And I say, Jide Olatunbode. They get that account. So I want to do the best in my field, right? I want to really be outstanding. And this makes me read a lot. This makes me push myself to good extremes to make sure that I'm outstanding and push the barriers more or less.
Okay. Big dreams.
Very big dreams, I know. Very big
What are those competencies, those skills that you think yourself and other young IT professionals need to be able to achieve some of these kind of dreams? You know, because they are big, but they are
achievable.
Achievable. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Well, first of all, you have to believe that
It's
achievable,
possible.
right? It's very possible. You have to know that, because you'll be deceiving yourself.
Okay.
If you have such big dreams and you think you can't make it. That's one. Secondly, for a field like IT or technology, it's very dynamic.
Yeah.
It moves, right? So you have to be moving with it. You have to read.
At the bleeding edge, basically.
Exactly. You have to, it moves. You have to know what's happening and what's next.
Okay.
Especially if you're working for an organization that whose business is centered around or supported by technology.
Yeah.
And you don't want to wake up one morning and your business is doomed because your computer has known 2-3 steps ahead of you. Exactly. So you have to really read, and then be open to learning. Right. New things coming. I read a book about IBM. Right, a huge corporation that did not believe in microcomputers, that said that it's just mainframes that they want to keep selling.
And they almost missed it.
Exactly, almost missed it, exactly. So you need to be open to new things that come in and everything. So those are two key things I think anybody in this profession would have and would succeed. Read like crazy and be open to the ideas that come your way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, believe in your dreams, Read, be open, go for it. Those are Jide's words to us today. Thanks, Jide. It's been great having you. Thank you.